So last class we were covering on switching. Let me open up the material related switching cycle. Today I need to cover up switching cycle. Okay. All diagrams related to the switching cycle are shown here. Okay. So let us go through step by step. Students, you need to pay attention here for timing related things. Otherwise, you may get confused, mess up or feel difficulty to understand at later stage. Okay. So pay attention for various timing related things today I am going to discuss. And today, as I told you, it's the last class for this BJT switching. Next class onwards we will start with FETs. Okay. Switching cycle. Kindly mute your microphone if somebody is turning on. Please inform Srihari to turn off its microphone. So these sessions get recorded. So I would request all of you to turn off your microphones. If you have any question related to the subject, you can ask us. Otherwise, in between, if you turn on, it will disturb the entire episode. Okay, class. Okay, all right. Let me show you that saturation. We were discussing about different states in which a transistor can be when we perform this operation called as switching operation. Just go to previous classes material and just look at that what we are covering. We are discussing on switching cycle. In this we have covered in the last class the switch mode, like cutoff mode. The BJT can be in the cutoff and it can be even in saturation. So these are the modes of operation when you perform BJT as a switch. In the cutoff mode, BJT will work like an half switch. In the saturation mode, if you operate BJT under saturation mode, the transistor will be in the on state. Okay. Last class, if you remember that I have showed you a few diagrams here. Yeah, this is what the diagram. Biasing circuit we have taken in the forward active mode in common emitter configuration, and forward active mode in the sense base and emitter are forward biased, collector and base are reverse biased. We have seen that the characteristics here by plotting the characteristics of VC versus IC characteristics. This is called output characteristics of a BJT, and then we have taken this plotted these characteristics for different values of base currents here. And we said that for lower value of base current, base current when it is 0, so the collector emitter voltage is going to be 40 volts, and as you keep increasing the base current, corresponding collector emitter voltage keeps dropping at say 0.08 milliampere of base current. The collector emitter voltage approximately is equal to 0. Okay. So the device gets saturated. So this is saturation point we have shown when we draw the load line here. Okay. So load line is nothing but if you apply KVL for this. Okay. Can you just apply KVL for this and arrive at load line equation, this equation for this line? Okay. If you are good at KVL, you can just apply KVL in the loop shown here. So this is minus, let us call this as VCC, and this as RC or R out, and current already it is IC. Yeah. Now can we apply KVL for this loop shown? Okay, right here. So applying KVL, Kirchhoff voltage law, for collector emitter loop. So this is the collector emitter loop shown here. What is the equation? You get it here. Minus VCC. I start from here and move all the way in this loop, and there is a device here, BJT. So collector emitter voltage exists here, So plus VCE, and there is a drop across this. When I go move across this loop, I have a resistor here, 5 kilo ohm resistor RC. So let us write here, this is plus IC times RC equals 0. Alright, this is the loop equation, common emitter loop equation, Kirchhoff law. When we apply Kirchhoff law, we get this equation. Can we simplify this equation for IC from this? What is the IC equation from this? Okay, IC equals, okay, so minus VCE by RC, or let us write it like this, minus 1 over RC times VCE plus this VCC by RC. Is it correct? Just check it out. Did we miss anything?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Now, if you compare this equation in our characteristics, for the time being, you can forget about this line. Okay, and see this characteristic. We said this characteristics is plotted between VCE versus IC. X-axis is represented by collector emitter voltage. Y-axis is collector current, which is in milliampere, and these characteristics are plotted for different values of base current, starting from 0 base current to all the way up to 0.08 milliamperes of base current. Now, why we need to, this is basically straight line equation. How do you say this is straight line equation? Because this equation resembles the straight line y is equal to mx plus c. Is it not? Y here is equivalent to IC, okay, and m here, that's why I put it bracket here. M is nothing but slope minus 1 by RC. VC is nothing but x parameter, and C is nothing but y intercept. So therefore, this is a straight line equation. So I can say this is going to be a straight line equation. When we want to draw this line on this characteristic, on the output characteristics or collector emitter output characteristic, we need to have a 2 points. One of the point you can obtain by making VC as 0. VC means this is x axis. When you make VC as 0, you will get y point here. Okay, and when we make IC as 0, you get x point. By doing that, can we obtain point for C and point for S? What is the point C? And what is the point for S? Just let us write here C. You can obtain the point C by making in this line IC as 0. When you make IC as 0, okay, what will happen is this will get transferred to other side, RC get cancels, and you are left out with VCE as VCC. So coordinate for this point is, there is a x here which is VCC, that is a VCE value, and y parameter is 0. Did you understood this? This is x comma y. So that means there is an x here component 40 volts VCC. There is no y component here, right? Y is, you are on the x axis. Similarly, to find out in this equation the value of this y coordinate, you need to make x as 0. X is nothing but in our case VCE. When we make VCE as 0, this complete term will get eliminated. You are left out with IC is equal to VCC by RC. So the S point is x is 0, you are on the y axis, and there is a y coordinate which is VCC by RC, correct? So this is the S point here. So if you know these 2 points here, you can draw the line here. You may ask a question, why we need to draw on this characteristic? That's very interesting question, or important question, because when if you look at the x and y, VC and IC, These are nothing but a point equation. This is the equation for the straight line, and characteristics also you can see here. Okay, so this is the behavior of a device is shown as a characteristics, and when we apply KVL to this, okay, so that is also an equation. We got an equation which is resembling like a straight line. I'm sorry, here I missed out spelling here. Straight line, straight line. So that means the straight line is obtained. This line is equation is obtained by applying KVL to this, and characteristics is plotted by the way the device it behaves for different values of base current here. So what I want to say is the device behavior and the straight line equation what we have drawn, what we have shown here, okay, they are on the same the coincidence, because there is the same x parameter, there is the same y parameter of the characteristics were shown here, and even in the straight line also we have same x parameter and y parameter here. So that's why we superimpose this line on this characteristic, and this gives you a lot of implications when we analyze this straight line. This is called as a load line, and this point we already noted this point is C, whose coordinate is VCC comma 0, and S point is 0 comma VCC by RC, and the slope of this line is given by minus 1 over RC. So this is the slope. That means as you keep changing the load resistance, okay, slope now depends on minus 1 by RC. This is the slope of the line. As this resistance keeps changing, the slope keeps varying here. Okay, so the slope of this line depends upon the resistance RC. Okay, so this is what the things and this gives you at any point, if you look at on this line, if you see the intersection point here, for example here for base current of 0.02 milliampere, the load line and characteristics intersect at this point, and if you draw a line vertically here to both vertically downward and horizontally, it gives me the collector emitter voltage and collector current here. So collector emitter voltage here approximately it may be 30 volts, and the collector current is 2 milliampere. So what is the coordinate of this intersection? So it is going to be 30 comma 2 milliampere. Likewise, you can also obtain coordinate for this point, which is, what is the value here if you extend to the downwards exactly, and here exactly. So this is 20 volts comma 4 milliampere, and look at here now, this if you extend this vertically downward, this is approximately, let us say, 10 volt. Okay, so the coordinate here is now 10 comma 0, not 0, 6, it is 6 milliampere. And look at S now, S is very close to y axis, S coordinate is already given here. So what is S value? S coordinate, it is 0 comma VCC by RC.
Yes, sir.
40 by RC, 8 milliampere, right? So this is
Yes,
8 milliampere. So this gives you, if you identify, locate any intersection point, it's very easy to get the collector emitter voltage and collector current easily from this intersection here. And now here this midpoint is very important. This is in the forward active mode. So in this point, you get you can use BJT as an amplifier. But at the end points here, like see here cutoff point, you can see that where collector current is 0, and you can see saturation point here where collector emitter voltage is 0. These points can be used as a switch. So that means you are shifting from saturation to cutoff, cutoff to saturation, okay, many times to make it as a on and off. Okay, so here in the cutoff mode the device works like an off switch. In the saturation mode, device works like a on switch, where VC is equal to 0. Look at this device, when VC is equal to 0, this complete device is behaving like a short circuit, right? Okay, collector emitter voltage, there is no drop between the collector and emitter. Look at this, VC is equal to 0 at saturation. That means this device is fully it is conducting. Another end, if you see here, the collector current is 0. So when the collector current is going to become 0? When there is an open circuit, right? So that means the device is behaving like a off switch. So in the cutoff, device behaves like a off switch. In the saturation, device behaves like an on switch here. That's how the BJT can be used as a switch. Off switch means very high resistance, device offers very high resistance. On switch device offers very low resistance here. So based on that, the current will result. Okay, so very low resistance across device means output current is maximum. And now this complete drop across this gets shift to the outside here for across 5 kilo ohm resistor. Okay, so now we are interested in today's class. We are interested to know at what speed we can switch on and switch off. Okay, this timing plays a very important role. That's how we categorize device, which is going to offer very less time between when we want to move from saturation to cutoff to saturation. Okay, so in that the BJT is very good, efficient switch, because when we compare BJT bipolar junction transistor with other transistors like field effect transistor, the switching speed of BJT is very good, excellent I can say here. Okay, compared to even FET also. FET switching speed is not so good as BJT. That's why when it comes to the speed of operation, when we want to design high speed circuits, we use the BJT. And again, see, we should have a trade off here. When we use BJT for just for the purpose of high speed switching, you have to have a trade off on power consumption, trade off on fabrication, okay, all other things, So you need to have a trade off. If you want to achieve one, you need to compromise on others. So BJT provides very good speed. No, there is no issue about speed, but the problem of this device is power consumption. When we have many transistors like this which are performing like a switches, especially in microprocessors, there are plenty of the millions and billions of transistors which are working like a switch. Okay, now we have to decide now whether we want to have a good speed or low power consumption. If I ask you a question in today scenario, when you want to buy a laptop, whether you go for low power consumption or you go for high speed, this is a question tricky, right? Yeah, go
Low
on.
power consumption.
Low power, because we are worried about the power rather than the switching speed, right? There are several boosters are there, performance improvise, you can make it in the laptop, but when it comes to power, see, immediately it can turn on, it can start functioning, but that is not the issue. What we want is the power consumption also at the same time. Okay, so that kind of a performance improvise or performance wise, if you look at, FETs are better. FETs has good moderate speed and also they have very low power consumption. Okay, so that's why we prefer FETs in the microprocessor fabrication. Now we are discussing about this cutoff and saturation state. I just want to tell you this, at what rate we can switch between these two states. We are interested to know how much time a device takes. Okay, how much time the device takes to switch between cutoff and the saturation. Okay, in a digital computer we know that we need to switch between off and on. Okay, it's like a true or false, 1 or 0, 0 or 5 volts, like that, right? So we need to switch multiple times, maybe billion times we need to do switching operations here. Okay, so that we will see here now. This is these things we have explained with reference to cutoff region. I don't want to go more detail. Now let us see the things here. This graph is very important for us to understand with reference to the BJT. This vertical lines here shows that the edge of the emitter base junction, and this line shows the edge of collector base junction. And let us see the beginning of saturation, what is going to happen here. So when do we say beginning of saturation? Look at here, the point which is mentioned here. Saturation regime begins when reverse bias across the collector junction is reduced to 0. Look at this. Understand here, when the saturation region commences. Okay, so I just want to show you the characteristics here. In the characteristics, what we have shown here, the commencement of this region starts from when the reverse bias across the junction, this reverse bias I am talking between the collector and the base, when that becomes 0, then the saturation region commences. Let us see how it is possible. Okay, now we have equation here. What this equation delta P represents, any idea? Many times I use these equations. These are called as excess hole concentration, right? So these are excess hole concentration, minority carriers, excess hole concentration, that is delta P. You can see this height tells you that this is delta P, hole concentration. Okay, and this is the whole concentration at the edge of the emitter and the base. So, this side you have an emitter, this is completely from here base region starts, base ends. So, this is starting point of the base region and this is the end point of the base region. Width of the base you can see here WB, this is the width, total width of the base, and xn is nothing but it is a distance starting from here. Xn is equal to 0 when you are here, xn is equal to WB when we are at collector base junction. As I mentioned that the VCB is equal to 0, this is where the saturation region commences. Now, we have excess hole concentration. Let us try to find out this apply this equation for these two edges of the depletion region. So, when VCB is equal to, let us see this delta P is nothing but excess hole concentration at the edge of this emitter base junction is given by this equation Pn times e to the power of q VB by kT minus 1. So, here VB is positive, right, because you are forward biasing the emitter base junction. This is forward biased and this value is going to be very large. Okay, so, this is large value. What happens to the exponential value when it is large? Total value is going to be very large, right? Q is a constant, KT is a constant. For the time being, you can treat all these things as a constant, and VB is very large value. So, therefore, what will happen to the e to the power of large value? It becomes further larger, right? Okay, that is what this height is showing to you. This is the delta P. Okay, this height tells you the delta P. There is an excess hole concentration here, because hole injection starts from, for a P plus NP transistor, from emitter to the base, right. So, at the junction of this emitter and the base, you see the excess holes. Lot of holes are residing here. Okay, that is shown as this height. Okay, more the height here, more holes are on the emitter base junction. Okay, that is what this equation tells you this. Okay, so, VB is, since it is forward biased, it is a large value, e to the power of large value is very large again. This one can be neglected when we compare this with e to the power of value. So, this approximately this equation becomes Pn times e to the power of q VB by kT. Okay, one can be neglected because this value itself becomes very large. Okay, another side you can see that collector base junction, as we said that saturation region commences when emitter base junction is forward biased and the collector base junction is going to be 0. We are not applying reverse bias here. Okay, in forward active mode this is going to be reverse biased, but this is going to be saturation region. Saturation region commences when the collector base junction voltage is 0. Now, let us rewrite again excess hole concentration at the collector base junction delta Pc, similar this equation. Okay, delta Pc is equal to Pn into e to the power of q VCB by kT minus 1. So, this VCB is now 0 because you are going to reverse bias, not reverse bias, it is 0 bias is applied between the collector and the base. So, this complete term e to the power of 0 is nothing but 1, 1 minus 1 cancelled. So, therefore, delta Pc is equal to 0. That means, there is no holes at the excess holes at the collector base junction is 0. That is why this site is, this distance is very less. There is no delta Pc here. So, because of delta Pc is 0, so this distance is a point now, is 0. So, Vc is small. Okay. So, you can see that now what happens when the delta this VCB is 0 and then the delta Pc is small here. The collector emitter voltage is going to become very small, right. Okay. Collector emitter voltage, and you can also locate find out the collector current here. IC is equal to 40 volts by 5 kilo ohm, that gives you 8 milliampere of current. Now, entire current is due to the holes injected from emitter to the base. There is no collector voltage applied across the collector and the base. Okay. This is the commencement of saturation region. Any questions about this commencement of saturation? Okay. And let us see what happens when we apply forward bias now. You have seen here the scenario where emitter base junction is forward biased and the collector base junction voltage is 0, and we told that excess hole concentration at emitter base junction is large, and whereas excess hole concentration at the collector base junction delta Pc is going to be 0. Now, let us see that what happens when we increase this, when we apply forward bias here and increase the forward voltage here. Okay. So, let us see that scenario here. So saturation region continues as collector becomes forward biased. Look at here. When we apply again, in the previous case we have seen collector bias voltage as 0. Now let me increase the forward voltage now. Now see what happens now. Again I am rewriting the same equation, delta PC equation. We have seen this for 0 collector base voltage. Now let us see when VCB is going to be large. It is positive value because we are applying collector base junction with forward voltage. This is forward biased. So therefore this value becomes very large. So therefore you can see now what will happen to this. Again same scenario, Pn into e to the power of 1 can be neglected here, Q times VCB by KT. This value becomes very large, right? Now see here, this is shown in the graph here. So you can see here now. So this is delta PC. Is now we have some holes here because of forward bias. VCB is positive, it is not negative now. Instead of applying 0, in the previous case we have seen VCB with 0. VCB with 0 means is this is the commencement of saturation, beginning of saturation. This dotted lines what we have shown is the beginning of saturation. This line is the saturation commencement, and the shaded portion indicates it is oversaturated because we applied emitter base voltage and also we applied collector base voltage. So now you can see that there is again holes here injecting from the collector emitter side, collector base side, and you can see that this device now enters into the mode called as oversaturation. Already it has saturation has commenced by forward biasing the emitter base junction, and this gets oversaturated because we applied an additional voltage at collector and base, which is positive voltage that creates a lot of holes in the collector base junction. And so you can see this shaded portion, entire portion indicates device is oversaturation. And one thing you need to observe here is under oversaturation, collector current will not increase abnormally or randomly. The collector current is going to maintain almost constant. What may be the reason? Any guesses here? Why the collector current is constant even when the device is oversaturated? Oversaturated means we apply forward bias here and as well as collector base junction. Both are forward bias. Just imagine the coupled diode model, you will get answer for this. Okay, just think of coupled diode model. When emitter base junction is forward biased, collector base junction also forward biased. Okay, so that region is called as oversaturation region. This complete region is oversaturation region. You can see this shaded portion is oversaturation region. So, but this is the commencement of bottom line. What you are seeing is the commencement of saturation or beginning of saturation. Okay. The moment we apply VCB, it becomes oversaturated. But at oversaturation, collector current is almost constant. So this is obtained by increasing the base current. Of course, if you want to make largely oversaturated, you need to increase the base current here. Okay. So that's how we need to achieve. And the current also you can calculate now. It is 8 milliampere current. If you look at the load line, you can expect the current which is going to be around 8 milliampere current, because 40 volts by 5 kilo ohm gives you 8 milliampere of current. Okay, so that's about this. The saturation is reached by increasing the base current. That's we have shown here. The degree of saturation, oversaturation, does not affect the collector current significantly. The collector current tries to maintain constant because the injection happens from both collector and emitter. Since the type of device what we have considered is P plus and P type of transistor, the amount of injection happens here and the amount of injection here, they compensates, balances. Okay, so you get constant current. You don't get significant value of collector current. It maintains a constant current here. Okay. Now let us see the switch. The performance here, the switching cycle here, and switching cycle. Just please look at these diagrams. For switching cycle, this is what we explained just so far. I have taken straight away the diagrams from the Streetman textbook. Just go through that, and now let us try to focus on this switching cycle. So the timing is very important here. That's what I highlighted here. Various mechanisms of switching cycle are illustrated in the figure 7.15. 7.15 figure which is shown here. So this is the figure 7.15. Various switching cycles we can observe here. Okay. Now let us brief it one by one. So device is originally in the cutoff region. A step response, a step increases a base current to IB, causes the whole distribution to increase approximately as illustrated in the figure 7.15b. What do we mean by this? Initially, we assume that the device is going to be in the cutoff region, and we are going to apply a step waveform, step input across the base current here. A step increase in the base current that causes the whole distribution to increase approximately. That's what it is shown here. You can see that initially we are in the cutoff region. Okay, so this is what the step waveform we are planning. We are seeing here. This is the step waveform we apply at the input here. You can see here we start with this, and then we jump to the positive. Okay, so from cutoff we move to the saturation. Okay, so since this is operated, device operated in the switch mode, so it can be in the cutoff, it can be in the, or it will be in the saturation. In the beginning, if I assume that device is going to be in saturation now, and when we want to, saturation means there is no base current here, cutoff means there is no base current is going to be 0. When we move from cutoff to saturation, that means we need to apply large base current here when we want to move from cutoff to saturation here. So, saturation means the IB value will be very large. Okay, so this here in the cutoff IB is going to be 0. Okay, base current is 0. So, now we need to have a large base current here. That's why we switch from this is a timing waveform, what we have shown a step waveform. So, when we switch from low state to the high state, okay, so base current, now there is a whole distribution within the base region here. Let us see that how exactly this create collector current, increase in the value of the collector current. Okay, I hope this point is clear to you. 7.15b shows different timings here. This is what the timings here. So, T naught here corresponds to the cutoff here. This is the T naught corresponds to the cutoff. Okay, this line corresponds to cutoff, and T1 corresponds to the normal active region. This line, this is normal active, and Ts is nothing but beginning of saturation. We have seen this. This is the beginning of saturation. T2 is final saturation. This is final saturation here, and this region is oversaturation region. Just now we have showed about this, right? So, this is oversaturation region. Okay. So, Ts is the commencement of saturation, and T2 means when the device is at state T2 means the device is oversaturated. Okay, final state of saturation here. So, these are the various the whole distribution graph which we are showing with reference to the timing here. So, we know that this is a base region. So, in the base region, in the cutoff mode, you can see that the base current is going to be 0. Okay, so in the cutoff mode, the device that doesn't conduct, it will be in the output current is going to be 0. So, so let us see that next point here. At time Ts already told it is nothing but beginning of saturation. Device enters a saturation, and the whole distribution reaches its final state at T2. So, that is what we showed here. Ts, this is the line, bottom line, what we have shown is the beginning of saturation, and the whole distribution reaches its final state at T2. Okay, this also can be seen here, okay, in this graph also. So, this is the base current what you are seeing here. Okay, so here you can see that initially we were in cutoff where the base current is going to be 0 here. So, this is a graph you can see, this is a step waveform. Here there is a base current which is going to be 0. When we switch base current from 0 to the high value, okay, now we can see that whole distribution takes place within the base region, and you are in the beginning of saturation. Okay, so in the saturation mode you can see that current flow, collector current exceeds. So, you can see this is the QB is nothing but the charge in the base region, and QB reaches QS. Okay, so this is, you can see that there is a charges in the base region has been increasing. Okay, when QB reaches to QS, you are entering into the saturation. Okay, and you can see that T2 we are at the fine over saturation. This is what T1 is nothing but in between, before the saturation commencement, and T2 is nothing but the final saturation or over saturated region. So, this is the timing instant you can see, and this is the final saturation region, and at this T2 this at this once device reaches saturation, if you suddenly make base current as 0, so or negative, so that means you are moving from saturation to cutoff. Okay, here the device is in saturation for this period, the device is in saturation, and here the device is in cutoff. Again, you are moving from all of a sudden from saturation to cutoff. Okay. Now the device is not as speed as we are thinking here. From timing point of view, we are applying sudden removing the current from the base, right? IB moves from higher value all the way to a negative value here. But do you think the same changes happens at the output current? If you observe this graph, the changes will not happen immediately, right? Look at here now, when the base current reaches, when the base current is large, what happens here? So slowly you can see this graph here, the charges in the base regions starts accumulating, and you can see the current, output collector current here. This is sharp increase in the output collector current here, because you applied immediately the large base current here, and the charges in the base region has accumulated, and when QB reaches QS, okay, so you can see that the saturation has been reached. So TS we already told it is a beginning of saturation. So that means when the QB becomes equal to QS, the charges are sufficient, and the device has entered the saturation here. And further, if you increase the charges in the base region, I mean the, you maintain constant base current, but charge distribution within the base region happens here, so that you can see that QB keeps increasing, charges in the base region keeps increasing. But at this particular timing instant, we have removed high value of base current, and we made negative value of base current. So that means we are interested to switch from saturation to the cutoff, and in the cutoff region you can observe here, even though you removed base current here, the charges in the base region will not disperse immediately. It will take its own time, so it is an exponential decrease, you can see here, the graph here. Okay, so that means it will take some time called as a TSD. Okay, so it's a delay time for removing excess charge here. Okay, so this much amount of time the whole the base will take to remove the charges from the base region here. That's why the collector current, even though if you move from saturation to cutoff, the collector current will not become zero immediately. There exists some current here, right, in this region. Okay, and the collector current after when QB becomes less than QS, you can see here, then the collector current becomes zero slowly here. Okay, so these are the various timing things which you need to look into this thing. Okay, any questions here so far? So these are the timing related things. You can calculate all these things. QB I already mentioned about it. At time Ts, the device enters into saturation, and the whole distribution reaches its final state at T2. Okay, and this we have calculated collector current also using this expression, which ECC by RL. Look at this is ECC by R. The collector current is nothing but supply voltage ECC divided by the load resistance RL. Using that you can calculate the collector current. In our case, at saturation, collector current flowing is 8 milliampere. Okay. Regarding this, we will continue in the next class, and we will switch to field effect transistor following this last topic of bipolar junction transistor. And I will stop at this point. If you have any questions, I could like to take up in offline. Okay.